It's a pleasure to be here. Before starting broadcasting and running the formal part that always happens every Wednesday, we have a very nice speaker for today. So before doing that, I like to check in with all of you who is here. I see some new faces and some people who have been missing, and it's great that we have still here. And please, you can open the microphone and who are you, from where are you basically talking, and basically your position would be great. So this is Erila. I'm talking from Albania. I am part of GIMI team. Don't be shy.
Hi, I'm Roland Garcia from Manila, Philippines, representing Embiggen Group.
That's great. Welcome back.
Kristanto from Jakarta, Indonesia.
Damn strong and
hello, my name is Paulo Tondo. I'm from Brazil, Porto Alegre.
Welcome, Paulo.
Thank you.
Hello, Shinong from Korea.
Hi, I'm Marian, also from the Philippines.
Great.
Hello, Rodrigo Castro. Go ahead.
Ben Sawilka from Guatemala and USA, Indiana.
Okay, Rodrigo Castro from Brazil, currently based in Dubai, UAE.
Rafael Pinto, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
I think we have like 3 or 4 other people who haven't presented yet.
Hi, I'm Ramjay Francisco from Manila, Philippines as well. Nice meeting you all.
Hi, I'm Ignacio Herrera from Manila, Philippines, representing Embiggen as well.
Wow, Manila makes the majority today. Great.
Yep, speaking of, I'm Mikey Dizon, also from Manila, the Philippines, representing the Embiggen Group as well.
Oh, okay. Edwin? I think only Edwin and Larissa is missing. Okay, so basically, let's start. We can start broadcasting. Today we are running a GIMI Think Tank, our usual meeting every Wednesday with all our partners, but also we are very happy to have other people today. So this is a platform and a medium where basically we discuss about innovation issues. Usually we discuss about the innovation state of a country. We talk about a trend, a new trend, or a new product, an innovation product. We talk about a topic which is related to innovation, and usually we talk also about innovation management practices and other certified training partners representing GIMI somewhere in the world, and they show to us what they have done with our GIMI framework, how they have replicated our products, and what else have they added in their offering. We usually have experts, different experts from around the world representing a specific topic. Usually those are a part of our network, GIMI network, or external experts, well-known ones, basically, who really master a topic. So I'm really happy today to introduce Rogério Bon, who is a global mentor. He's Brazilian. He will talk about innovation on family business, and basically the topic he will elaborate more, generating innovative actions for traditional and conservative family businesses. I really look forward to hear him, because this is a topic which is dear to my heart as well. I have done several researches on that, and I think it's very important because usually family businesses are left behind, even though we know that in most of the economies, in particular developing countries, they make the most part of the total businesses out there. So Rogerio has an extensive experience in the organization of international congresses. He runs a TV show as well in Brazil. He is a professor, he is a trainer, a mentor, he's a speaker at events and workshops held in Brazil, but also in other countries. He is a civil engineer by background. He has a master in administration, basically with a focus in human resources. He has been consultant for many years in family business, innovation, strategic and management. So you see that this is his topic of mastery. And basically he has been a visiting professor in several postgraduate programs. Besides, he has written many books and a research paper. We know very well Rogerio because he is one of our best mentors that we have in the Leaders of the Future program that we are right now doing in Brazil with 2,000 leaders. So it's I'm really glad having him here as a speaker, and really looking forward to him talking about this very important topic. So Rogerio, please feel free, if I missed anything about your introduction, feel free to add and continue with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Arila. Actually, you've been very generous with your presentation. So I'm here in the south of Brazil, in the city of Porto Alegre, and we are starting to get cold now. For those who doesn't know, Brazil is not always a hot country. Here in south we have cold, and now it's about 5-6 degrees, so it's starting to be very cold. I really would like to thank you very much for GIMI for inviting me, and I'd like to discuss a bit about my perceptions, my experiences, my studies about innovation and family business. And I would like to start right now sharing this with you. I hope everybody can see.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So first of all, let's talk about family business, innovation on family business. And why innovation on family business? Why specifically family business? What is the importance? What's the economic impact of family businesses? Why do we have to discuss family business? Well, I will start saying one thing. Family business is the base of the economy. And I will speak more about that during my presentation. And it's not important if we are talking about a traditional economy, if we are talking about innovation. Family business is the base. And doesn't matter if we are in Brazil, United States, in Italy, in Indonesia, in Japan, wherever you want. Well, about me. Arila presented me. I just would like to share with you more about my background. I started with innovation when I was 13. I was a programmer in the computer in 1983, and I started with my company doing software for civil engineer. I was hired by a civil engineering company that was developing software for calculus. I was a president of entrepreneurial organization here in Brazil. I was vice president of a financial institution here, a credit union called Sicredi. And my background in the international field is organizing congresses, making speeches, and international missions to more than 25 countries. Here are some of the experiences I had in Italy, in Geneva, in Germany, in the United States, Canada, Dubai, China, and other places. So that's why I understand that family business is important everywhere. A few years ago, with my partner, Rafael Pinto, that is here, and Cleverson Vieira, we started a company. It's called Think Global, and it creates the mindset of internationalization, of global vision for companies that doesn't understand very well the opportunities. So this company was created before the pandemic moment, and we started to help connections with all kinds of companies all over the world. And for that, we created some boot camps. And these boot camps, of course, in the pandemic moment were virtual. So we did boot camps in Portuguese, like this one. It's one example. In Spanish, because we have a Spanish-speaking, Portuguese-speaking, English-speaking team, and in English. So we did some boot camps in the United States, Canada, and other English-speaking countries to help the companies, the professionals to understand the international opportunities, to connect their businesses with the world, and to understand innovation in all the countries that they are interested. Well, that's it. That's about me. Let's talk about family business. So when I say family business is the big deal, why do I say that? What is family business, first of all? Let's understand what I'm talking about. A family business is a company that has the ownership control by members of a family or consortium of families. It's not necessarily only one family, only parents and sons. Also, the strategic influence of a family in the management of the firm. So they have some kind of direct influence in that. Also, the relationships of the family somehow affects the destiny of the organization. And in many cases, the dream of continuity across generations is something that is really present. So the grandfather creates the company, the son starts to change something, and the grandson is trying to do something different. So in many cases, that's the reality of family businesses. Well, when you say family business, sometimes we think about a small restaurant around the corner or a convenience store in a gas station in the middle of nowhere, or maybe a clothing company that works in a very small area. Of course, it is the reality of some family businesses. But let's keep in mind that when we're talking about family business, we are talking also about companies like Walmart. It's a family business. We're talking about Ford Motors. It's a family business. So just to talk about United States, what's the percentage of family businesses in the United States? Well, according to United States Census Bureau, it's over 90%. So 9 in 10 companies are family business related. Doesn't matter if we're talking about small, medium, big, or giant company. And the big mistake that sometimes I think is made is that the companies don't look at themselves as a family business, and they do not understand some of the conflicts that are happening. Sometimes the innovation is not happening, not because of lack of will of doing the innovation, but for political problems inside the organization or for family problems inside the organization. And the things sometimes do not happen because of that, because these companies do not see themselves as a family business. Okay, but let's talk about the world. And in the world, what's the relevance? I can say here in Brazil, it's over 90%. In Latin America, it's something like that. But let's look about this specific topic that I found. The world top 750 family business in the world. They are responsible for revenues of $10.3 trillion in 2019. Of course, let's forget the pandemic moment. We do not know what's going to happen, but we have this specific data from 2019. So the 750 biggest family business in the world are responsible for $10.3 trillion. Well, that's relevant for me. It's bigger than Brazilian economy. It's bigger than almost all the countries' economy. So we can say there's a family business economy in the world, and it's extremely relevant. And for those who understand this language, those who are fluent in the family business network, there's a lot of opportunities, and that there's a lot of things that can be done. Some of the companies that I'm talking about, Walmart, Volkswagen, Exer, Ford, LG, and lots of others, but these are the biggest in the world, according to this research. Also, when I'm talking about the United States, we can say that 62% of the country's employment are in family business organizations. And the new jobs creation, almost 78% of them are in family business. Well, first of all, let's discuss a bit about some specific topics about the family business. To understand the reality of family business, we must look at these three circles created by Davis that explains a bit the dynamic of a family business. And sometimes these circles are mixed, so the things don't work as well as they should inside a family organization because of this. Because there's a circle of ownership, a circle of the business, running the business, and a circle of the family. In my experience, in many cases, these three circles are all together. The interests of the family are together with the money of the company, that are together with the running of the company. So it's a big mess. If you do not organize these three circles and you really isolate the ownership, the family, and the business, it's not possible for a company to work with innovation and even to be really prepared for the new challenges that we have. And sometimes they do not survive when the generations are changing. Let's talk about the strengths of a family business. Well, there's a lot of them. I choose some, and one of them is trust. Of course, you know the people in the family, so you know who you can trust and those who you cannot trust. But there's a trust relationship inside a family business. Also speed, it's faster to make decisions because the people are there, you can connect them easily. So it's speed, it's another topic. And stronger connections. We're not only talking about partnership, we're talking about family. So the connection are much stronger. You do not have to create the trust question. It's already there. It's your family. So this is the strengths of family business. Well, but you know, we have some problems. We have some weaknesses. Not everything are beautiful flowers. So let's see. You can say, according to this PwC research, that 43% of family business in the world do not have a succession plan, and only 12% reach the third generation. So the example that I said, the grandfather creates the company, his son starts to run and change some things, and only 12% of the grandsons may sometimes have the opportunity to run the company and to create something different. another problem when we're talking about specifically innovation inside this family business. Well, family business tends to be more conservative, tends to be hard to change. So the exposure of innovative ideas from other industries, other companies are smaller. We have less of this open spaces to have new ideas coming from outside the family and outside the company. More than that, it's not just an aspect of we don't have, but we don't want to have, lack of willingness to adopt outside ideas, because we have been doing this for decades. This company exists for 20, 30, 40 years and always worked this way. And your grandfather created. So why do we have to change? Also, in many cases, that's the only big asset that the family has. All the eggs in this basket, the business. So when we talk about change, some families say, no, I don't want to change. It's too risky. Well, so lack of innovation sometimes is the beginning of the end. We know that in any market, but especially in family business. So it's connected. The innovation in family business is connected to business survival. If you do not have the organization prepared to innovate, if you do not have the spaces to innovation, it's much hard. But how can we do it? If I'm telling you that many companies, in my experience, in my research, and in the work that I have done, in many cases, the companies, the business owned by families, they do not want to innovate. It's too risky for them. What can we do to help these companies to be more innovative? Well, I bring some ideas to create this innovation in a way that may help these organizations to change from inside out. And to create these innovations, we will have certainly this problem, the fight between the generations, the founder and his sons that are already in the company. It's inevitable because the generations think differently. It's different cultures. It's not easy to make changes without having some kind of conflict. Not necessarily the conflict is bad because it generates new ideas, new ways of thinking. So one thing that we do in a family business is small changes. Sometimes the disruptive approach is not doable. We cannot change everything. We cannot change lots of things at once. We have to do small changes. We must show the company, show the founders, show the successors that it's possible to make changes. Small changes in perhaps small areas. And we do these small changes and you show that it's possible to innovate in small fields, in small questions. Well, then it starts to open the mind of the controllers, open the mind of the people to see, yes, we can do better. So we can open the space to oxygenate the culture. And what is oxygenate the culture? Well, if we have a company that has 30, 45 years working in a specific way, the culture of the organization is in one specific way. It's designed that way. The mindset of the company is that way. Sometimes you have to change. And making the small changes, you open the space to oxygenate the culture and create spaces to innovate inside of them. With that, we can start changing a bit the business governance. And again, I'm not talking about only the small, I'm not talking about only the big, I'm talking about family business in general. And to innovate, you have to change a bit the business governance. It's not possible to innovate without changing it. So how can we change the business governance? Well, one is the possibility. Perhaps it's not too difficult to create, is a consulting board. Okay, this consulting board does not have power to decide anything, but it has power to show new ideas, to discuss innovation with the family, to bring them some things that they saw in other companies, in other countries, in other areas. So the consulting board you create with people possibly that the family, the controllers trust, or people that are connected to some kind of innovation projects in the city, in the country, or in a specific area. And these people can be united to be part of meetings every month, every 2 months, every 3 months, bringing ideas to the company. It's a way to start oxygenating companies that don't want to change. A step forward is the creation of a family office. And why is that? Well, remember the three circles. So one circle is family. The interests of the family, of course, they are connected with the company, but they're not the company. The family is the family. The company is the company. So when you create a family office, it's like if you create a structure to deal with family questions, to deal with investments, to deal with the idea that you can do other things than this specific business that the company has. So you can create investments, different kinds of investments. I put some of them here, luxury assets, crypto assets, ESG focused portfolio. So the family starts investing in other areas. And even if it's a small investment, it opens the mind. Hey, look, we can do other things. Not only this, we have a very big industry, very conservative business. Great, let's keep it that way, but we can create other things. We can create a different mindset to do that. And one thing that is important for us to understand, and of course that we know that what really distinguishes the great family business innovators is having family owners with a true sense of purpose. The purpose sometimes really are responsible for the change, because I'm not too attached to the business I have. I must be attached to the purpose I have. And if I have to change my company to keep connected with my purpose, it's more easy for me. It's easier to change my company. If I am too attached to my company without a purpose, it's more difficult to change. So to discuss really, truly the idea of purpose inside the company, oh, that's one of the major points. Also, the growth of the company. When the family structure and the ownership structures start growing, well, the business must grow because the family is growing, the structure is growing. So I have to make the company grow. And how can I do that? Creating new areas, creating new products, creating new ideas. I would like to share with you one other idea that has worked very well in a big company. It's to create an arm outside the main organization. Lots of examples of that, but I would like to share one example. It's a company called Randon. It's a family business owned. I'm talking about a multinational organization. It's a traditional organization. It has something like 80 or 90 years. It's a company that creates trucks and traditional business. But they had several problems. Imagine in 70, 80 years, they had to change lots of things. But the main concepts were the same. And I saw their CEO in a conversation that we had a few years ago. They said, well, we understand that we cannot innovate the way we should inside our company. So we decided to create an institute, which is IHR, to create innovation in this company, not to create actually inside the company, but to create the concepts, to design new products. And the idea is that IHR starts getting bigger and will be connected with the innovation ecosystems, will be connected with the startups. We will create new ideas for our business. And so at some point, it will be so important for us that will be natural that this IHR Institute will be inside our organization, will naturally happens. If I try to change the company from inside out with big changes, it will never occur. Well, he said that, and then in different events and different speeches, we repeated that. And that's something that is going on in this company. And that's one of the examples for a very big company that I'm bringing to you. But perhaps one of the most important things that the companies, the business-owned companies, the family-owned companies must have in mind is learn. Be open to learn. Because if the company is too close, my family is too closed, I don't want to learn. I know everything about the business because I'm doing this for 40, 50, 100 years. Do not learn more. Of course that the company will have several problems to survive. Will have several problems to be in this new moment of the economy. So learning organizations, even when we are talking about family business, is very, very important. And to finish my presentation, Arila and colleagues, I just leave one reflection that I think it's good for every one of us. When was the last time that you did something for the first time? When was the last time that you did something for the first time? Well, this is the books that I have written until 2022. Some of them I'm the only author, some of them I'm co-author. And I hope I might have given you some ideas about this topic. Thank you. Thank you very much, Arila. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thank you a lot, Rogerio. Thank you very much for the presentation. So in the meantime that we are waiting for questions, please feel free to ask questions. And if you have any comment or if you want to share the experience in this topic. Yeah, I know Dan has one question. Before that, I want to warm up a bit the audience, and I have a question, Rogerio. Some years ago, I did a research in 6 countries in Eastern Europe, basically, and it was about intergenerational family business. And we asked young people, basically, who had the family business and those who didn't have. And we found the probability of them, basically, if they want to continue the family business or not. And what we saw from the research was really interesting. We saw that most of the people or the young people who had a family business, they didn't want to continue the family business, but they wanted to start a company of their own. And some of them wanted to have a corporate job. So my questions, and this was Eastern Europe, just to know, because there is a difference when it comes to geography as well in this type of perceptions and conclusions. My question here is, what is the reason? Have you seen the same results in other countries, maybe in Brazil, if you have researched the topic, or other countries? And what are the reasons? I assume that there are plenty, but is there because they do not find the family business challenging enough? Is there because they don't find the family business innovative enough? Is there because they find their father or the person who runs the family business to have a certain authority and they do not want to give up, so they do not enter in this, problems with the family that we know one of the challenges that the family business have is that do not separate the family issues with the business issues. So what are the reasons according to your researches, according to your experience, Rogerio?
Well, really very interesting. And it's easier to find examples of members of the family that wants to start a different business because they are not willing to fight inside their own organization. And one point is because it's family there. So I have to fight with my father, I have to fight with my mother, I have to fight with my cousin. And if there's not a very organized governance inside this company, if the circles are mixed, so I get home and I have to keep fighting with my father at home or with my wife at home. So normally we don't want that. So one of the reasons that the people sometimes want, no, I want to go out and create my own business and something different. One of the main reasons is because of that, because I don't want to keep fighting with my family. But I would say that it's very good for a person, and we always advise this to the families, that the successors, these sons, must have different experiences even prior to enter the company. So why not to have a job in a different company, to understand how is a job, how an employee feels in a company? Because if you live only in the kingdom of wellness, and you don't have to be there at 7 a.m. and then have to wear a uniform, you don't understand how it feels. You don't have the empathy to your employees. So it's something important. Go there, be in a job, a regular job, perhaps have a different experience, go to other places. All right, I saw some questions here about agriculture business. Okay, sometimes the families have 2-3 big farms. Great, do something else in some other place, then come back to the family with new ideas, with new concepts, with new arguments, with new concepts, and then you can change. But that's something that we see, Arila, not only in Brazil, Latin America, and all over the world. Sometimes the people are not willing to fight with their family, and they don't have the strength to change the governance. Of course, that the founders have sometimes really the power to change the governance, to be open. And how can we open a closed mind? It's a challenge. Actually, if I don't want to open my mind, I will not. I can see everything showing that I must be open-minded. But if I don't want, I will not. People can be around me, my family, my board, everybody can tell me, you must open your mind. If I don't want to, unfortunately, I will not. So it always depends on the willing of the people. Actually, it's something.
Just to close the loop here, I believe those are some of the reasons, but it depends also, as you said, from the family business, if it's a small, a middle, or basically a large one, because it makes a difference when it's Walmart and when it's a small family business. My story, for example, I have a family business. I chose not to continue the family business. Maybe it was a mistake, but my reason was because it was a small, at a certain time, it was like a middle business, basically, in terms of size. But I was scared. I was really overwhelmed because I saw my parents, working a lot, not having a lunch together and time, because we know that this is usually a struggle, even though they might have employees. But usually it's a struggle for them to let it go. They consider it very dear to their heart, so they work a lot, and this was like my phobia, if I can say like this. So I didn't want to basically continue that, and maybe this is one of the reasons when the other generation grows up, right, with this mindset in mind that you have to work a lot to put so much effort, but not spend time with a family, and it becomes, sometimes very scares them away, right? So I see that many from the audience have questions. I'll start from Dan, since Dan raised the hand since in the beginning. Dan, please.
I just want to say, Rosario, where were you 25 years ago when I started working with agricultural clients? Because they're all family businesses. But I have a couple, I had to do some research, and there's some interesting stuff in the United States. It's about, there are not just one type of family business. As you know, there's many, and there's some very interesting ones in the United States and probably elsewhere that are called uncorporations. Uncorporation is an official term, and it refers to companies that choose not to go public so that they can have the freedom to set their own vision, their own standards of ethics. Because when you go public by law in the United States, your number one responsibility is to your investors. If your investors want you to cheat, lie, you have to cheat and lie. So this happened around the time of the junk bonds. But and in doing this, I decided, okay, if ethics is so important, what are the longest lasting companies in the United States? Because they would have to be ethical if it's true. The fact is, if it's true. And at the time, there was not much information about it. Now there's a lot more, but at the time there was a company called J.R. Rhodes, which sold in 2009, but started in 1702. And their vision was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The founder was a Quaker. But the difference I found had a lot to do with who the founder was and what their vision was. The founder of that business already had an eye on the next generation. It already was opening up ways for the family members to contribute and move on. In other companies that I worked with that have closed and cooperatives that have closed, that vision wasn't there. They were dependent on one strong, dominating character to run the business. So I think that's part of the issue too, that maybe it's not such a bad thing when some companies close, because they can't make this transition to a more democratic approach. The other thing I want to say is there's a very good example in Brazil too, which is Semco, which is Ricardo Semler's business. Again, a family business. And it's a very interesting story in how the father didn't want to innovate, so he gave the company to the son, which is a really interesting thing. But this is topics that are, I think, very important because, as you said, the vast majority of jobs, not money generated, but the vast majority of jobs in the world come from small businesses, family businesses. Thank you.
I would say then that it's not a problem that the companies decided to be closed and to keep the values and the shares among them, the family, and it's okay. It's a decision. It's perhaps a way to control the culture, to control the new developments of the company in a way that remain the future really is in the hands of the family. But also the other side is it's not too open to innovation, because when we have some that we don't know that comes and says, oh, you didn't think about this. Look, I have this, and I had an experience in Thailand or whatever, and I saw this and bring this to the board, and they fight about it. Sometimes it's a new area in the company, even a new business that starts. So it depends on what I want. If I create a company and I say, it's mine, it's for me, it's for my family, I don't want to share this with the world, and I want to take it to my grave. No, well, okay, you'll do that. But if I create a business and I'm open to make money to the family and to create some response to the purpose that I'm doing, it's a different way. So that's what I said. Depends on the mind of the people, depends a lot on the mind of the founder, of the family, depends on what they want to do with the company.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dan, for the questions, and Rogerio for answering those. I'll go to Roland. Roland has a really interesting question. Roland, please feel free to ask.
Yep. Hi. Thanks for your talk. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks for your talk. I think in the Philippines there are a lot of family businesses, right? Most of the conglomerates in the Philippines are family owned. And I think this is also true for emerging markets, right? Whether and perhaps maybe if you're in the US, right? Like it's the same. There was this one story where we pitched to the board of directors, right? And this is the uncles, the son, and the dad of the son, right? And they were in front of us. They were fighting because while we were talking about innovation, right? The chairman or the uncle didn't want to innovate, right? So my question really was from that context, right? Are there any stories that you might be able to share that perhaps a case study that converted a close-minded family member to be open to innovating?
Roland, sometimes one important way to convince a person is their pocket, and say the wallet. Sorry, the wallet. Look, if you innovate, you create something new, and you might have bigger profits, and you might have better results, and for our entire family, and including yourself. Because sometimes the people are so closed-minded that any other ideas just don't go inside. No, but we have to put something new. Why should I have something new? Look, this company has changed. No, I don't want to change. I want to keep it this way. So one idea is to show, look at the results that this other company is having because they created new and innovative products, services, new areas of development. Sometimes it works. But Roland, unfortunately, we have some cases where really the companies, how many companies do you know that just disappeared because of lack of innovation? I know a lot, you know a lot, of course, we all know a lot of companies, and many of them were family companies. So many of the reasons of this, the vanishing of these companies is because they didn't want to innovate. And in many cases, because their founders think everything is fine, that it's just a wave of change that is coming, and now and then it come back to the way it was. And no, I don't want to change. So I would say that one important thing that we can do is use the profit idea. Look, we can have better profit if we innovate. We can have and get good examples of companies that have done it and have this possibility. But unfortunately, if the controllers say no, well, unfortunately, probably it will be one of the companies that will vanish in a few years.
Thank you.
Great. So I think Julie had a similar question. I don't know, Julie, if Rogério was able to respond to your question as well, or do you want to ask again?
I'd love to modify it a little, modify the question, but take it at a different tack. From what I see sometimes with small businesses or family businesses, excuse me, that it's not necessarily that they don't want to be innovative or listen to change, just that the company is going at a different pace. And then the next generation comes in and wants it to go much faster. And so it's not like, oh, I won't do it, but it's sort of this modified, oh yeah, we'll get to it, or, simple things like let's digitize, or let's get more customer centric, or something like that. And it's just what I call death by small drops. How do you deal with that? And, beyond the profit, because they'll be like, oh yeah, of course, that's what we want to do. But then they basically kill any change because they're just not in the right mindset.
Julie, perfect. That's one of the things that I said, small changes. Sometimes what we need is small changes inside the company to show that it's possible to change, that it's possible to innovate. Sometimes we have some examples of things that don't want to change the room of the president, the room of the chairman. They don't want to change the color of a wall because they're so conservative that it may be some kind of superstition or whatever. And when you do very small change, oh, look, nothing happened. Let's go ahead. Let's change more, and let's change more. And then you can have with you can have an ally for the next generation that wants the change. And of course, the next generation always wants faster. I need it now. I want it faster than what we are doing. Even if the company starts doing it fast, sometimes it will never be the speed that the next generation wants, because they always want faster. So small change, small moves sometimes are the answer to help. Then we change a bit, then we are prepared to make another change, then we are prepared to make a bigger move, and so we are going and show the next generation we change something, and show the founders, look, nothing happened, we're still here, the world didn't end. So that's the way.
Okay,
That's,
great.
that's great. Can I do a follow-up question?
Yes.
Just by what you're saying, then I think we also have to get the next generation to be patient, almost. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, that's always two sides in a coin. If the founder sometimes don't want to change anything, the next generation sometimes wants to change everything. Who are correct? Probably no one. So that's why sometimes it's very important to have someone from outside to help with this process, because if the family starts beating one another, they just cannot go ahead. So you get someone from outside and help them to understand themselves. Okay, we are not going 0 kilometers per hour, but we're not going 1,000. Maybe we can start at 5 and next year at 10. And so you are going slowly in a direction that we agree to go. So that's the point. Have some external help. In many cases might be a board, counselors, consulting, whatever. But sometimes it's the answer to do innovation inside a family business or not do the innovation inside a family business.
Okay, thank you, Rogerio. Thank you, Julie, for the question. I'd like to go to Rafa. Rafael has a question. Rafa, if you want to ask the question, or if you want me to read the question, it's okay.
Well, thank you, Rila. No, you can read it if you don't mind. My internet is not so good, so if you can read it,
okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. So Rafa is asking, how are agricultural families dealing with their children wanting to work more in larger cities or with technology companies and not having as much interest in their family business, agriculture business? Is this a growing trend in Brazil? And basically he's saying that perhaps they are bringing innovation and technology to their family agriculture business as well. I believe by going in larger cities, getting some experience and coming back.
Yeah, Rila, Rafael, I would say that's two different things. One of the things is the person doesn't want to live in that small town where there's the agriculture family business. It's something that is hard to change. Maybe sometimes the person doesn't want to stay there living. Other question is, don't want to be part of a traditional agricultural business. Well, if you bring innovation, if you bring new ideas, new technologies, and you can show the next generation that it's a profitable business, and that you can bring the new things that we are seeing in the world. And there's a very interesting fair in Germany, in Hanover, in November. It's about agriculture, and you have all the innovative actions in the agriculture business is there. So you can go there and watch and see, well, I want to do this in my farm. I want to do this in my business. Why not? Why I'm putting out the possibility of making money and be connected with something that is mine. So if you put these ideas in the mind of the next generation, show these possibilities. Why? Sometimes the next generation wants, as Arila said, and it was said here, I want to create my own business that has no connection with the family business. Okay, create also your new business, but you can be also connected with the family business. You don't want to live in that small town where your father created the company. Don't live there. You have to go there maybe sometimes to be part of a meeting presentially or not. But that's why I say, one thing is leave the small town. Okay, leave the small town. Other thing is leave the profitable business. Then I ask, Why? You can do something else, but also be in part of this family business that is making profit for you and your family. Just have to find the balance, the correct and the right pace for innovate in this traditional business.
And maybe I feel, Rogerio, that also with the digital transformation the world is facing right now and the remote work, I mean, these distances are not anymore as the same challenge as it was before. So you don't need to be in the same city, right? Close to your family, so you can be involved in the family business. So I believe it has changed a bit the perspective. So the last two questions, at least that I have in chat, are related to the third generation, and I have some basically statements from Bob, and I can give him the floor as well. But before doing that, Cristanto, if you want to go ahead and ask the question, and then is Mariona that I think has a follow-up question.
Okay, thank you, Irila, Rogerio. Very interesting topic. But this relates to my own experience. I worked many decades ago for a family company. And I actually once had a discussion with the Filipino professor of AIM, who actually tried to counter the thesis of Professor Gordon Redding that no, family business should last longer than ordinary publicly owned companies, things like that. In my case, I think that whether the family business are not innovating on everything depends very much on the family leadership. Like in my former company, the leadership is so good that they treat the second generation is just like professionals, and actually that become they compete to each other like crazy, you know. And capital is given to those actually is more enthusiastic and more convincing. And it's like a competition in the family. If they fail, then they will be kicked aside, and then another family will join. And they last more than 3 generations. So I was wondering that it is not family or non-family matters, but what matters is the leadership of the family. What do you think, Roger? Thank you.
Thank you, Cristanto. Always the leadership is absolutely important. Of course that. And when we have a family, we have other connections than we have with natural partners that we create. So the relations inside the family sometimes are responsible for the survival or not of the company. And sometimes we don't understand. We look at the company and says, well, it should be lasting longer, but something is going on inside the family that are bringing instability to the company. So yes, I understand that the leadership of the family, the leadership of the company based on a family ownership is absolutely important. If you don't have a strong leadership, connected leadership, innovative leadership, as I said, I don't want to open. The company is mine. I will take it with me. Okay, it will happen. Be happy. You started your company and we die. When you die, the company will die with you. Great. But probably that's not the best idea.
Thank you. I agree.
Okay, great. Mariona, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, so thank you, Professor. Thank you for your talk. So my question is, despite the third generation thesis, do you think that the third generation is also more hungry or more open to take risks? This given that most of the third generation come from a more affluent status than their parents, and for most family businesses, especially in emerging markets, this could mean that they're being sent to Western universities, wherein they're more exposed to more innovative ideas, business models. So what do you think? Do you think that that's true? And if so, as innovation professionals, how can we capitalize on that to become a launch pad for more innovative ideas, projects, and ventures?
Marian, if we say that the third generation is more hungry for innovation, I would say, okay, if we compare with the prior generation, but if we compare the second generation to the first, wouldn't we say something similar according to that time? So of course, we have more opportunities, we have more connections today, but if you look 50, 60, 70 years ago, and 20 years later or 30 years later, that would be now 30 years ago, 30 years ago, we had a different world. So that second generation would be considered much younger also compared to the first. So the fourth generation probably will be considered too hungry also. So I understand that the best way to try to make the organization survive and innovate is balance. Okay, not as fast as the new generation wants, not as avid for risk that sometimes we see, but not too conservative that doesn't allow new ideas, new investments. So balance. How we get to balance with adequate governance, with adequate advice, listening to the new generations, but also listening to the founders, because there's true in the words that both of them say. They are not completely wrong, none of them, but you have to find the balance so the company keeps going, perhaps not as fast as the new generation wants, and not as slow or stopped as the founders want.
Well, if I can also do a quick follow-up on that, given that I think, to your point, even the second generation are more innovative than the first one for sure, but in terms of how businesses work, the innovation there is mostly within its core businesses, whereas the third generation are more open to more disruptive innovations. And I think for a lot of, especially for emerging markets, we've observed that the ones in the third generation family members are the ones who are more engaged in the startup, probably because it's also the thing that's happening right now compared to maybe when their parents were there. They're typically just inheriting. So do you think that maybe in the next generation that comes after the third one, they'll be more open to even more disruptive ideas or more innovative business models?
I believe that's a natural sequence of innovative world. So probably 20 years from now, we'll have access to things that we don't even imagine now. We know that. So yes, of course, what kind of business will be happening when we start actually being on Mars? Can we imagine something like that? And probably in 20 years, we'll have a colony on Mars. So how will be connected to the people there? And someone probably say, we'll have to create some farms on Mars. Why don't we take our farms from here, the ideas that we have here, and put them in Mars? And that's crazy now, but that will happen in 20 years. So of course, it's exponential. I believe, yes, Marian, that the next generation after this third generation that we're talking about will be much younger and much open to new innovative ideas, and more needed the balance, because if not, the possibility of failure is very big. We know startups, we know how it works.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mariana, and thank you, Rogerio, for the questions and the answers. I feel that Bob has shared some considerations and insights with us. Bob, if you want to go ahead and share with us more, please do it. As well, he has suggested one book, which is a collection of 50 most famous family businesses as well. Okay. It seems that Bob is not available right now. So if there is any other question, last comment, please feel free to go. Otherwise, I would like from Rogerio to thank him a lot for being today, sharing with us a very important topic and insights based on his researches and his observation in real cases. So Rogerio, I'd like from you to wrap up and share with us like last comments or the last insights and basically so we can get the last basically flavor from all this presentation.
Thank you, Rila. Well, I would thank you. I would thank GIMI, Rila, and Professor Hitendra for this opportunity to be here with you, bringing some of my experiences, some of my observations. And I would say that one of the things that I have learned about family business is that always is important and needed an external help to see what's going on, to give new ideas, because if you don't do that, you are less open to innovation, you are less open to create new business, and probably the possibilities to survive, to grow, and to the next generation are much smaller. So my advice to the family business owned companies are this: at least create a consulting board to bring inside new ideas, new thoughts, new opportunities. I believe that's really true. And Rila, once more, Professor Hitendra, thank you very much for this opportunity.